Password policy problems. Now, passwords are the key elements of an authentication system, right? They're like the keys to open a door. So the application should have a strong password policy. But you do have to be careful. I don't mean just password complexity with the word policy. Password policy is way more comprehensive. The complexity is just a property of this policy. So a password policy sets how to transport and store passwords as well. All right, so here as pen testers, we got to figure out three things: password complexity rules, password transmission rules, and password storage rules. So the last thing is basically how the passwords are stored on the back end. So it's not directly a pen test aim, but passwords should be salted and encrypted and then stored. See my meaning? Because even you cannot bypass the login mechanism, but you can reach the database over an SQL injection. And if passwords are not stored properly, they're going to be dumped. But we're going to talk about password complexity and transmission. So the first thing that we should check is to see if the target has a policy or not, because this is going to shape how to attack the login mechanism of the application. So if the target has password complexity rules, we should generate the dictionary based on these rules. So now go to Kali and open up your terminal, and we're going to use Crunch to generate a password list. And simple usage of the help screen is printed, so Crunch can create a word list based on, well, criteria that you specify. For example, if you type Crunch 44AB1, it will print 4 character words to the screen by using A uppercase B1 and. So now let's have a look at the man page of Crunch. Crunch has a well-planned man page with examples. So scroll down to see some example uses. And you can quit from here. So let's use some options. So it generates word lists based on a character set. And you need to provide Crunch a char set to start. So thankfully it has its prepared list in this directory already, and then you can choose one of them or add a new one if you want. Okay, type crunch88/user/share/crunch/charset.list LALPHA and hit enter. So it's going to produce a long output, but I'm going to stop it here. And now I'm going to provide my custom char set. So it's a long output, and I'll stop it here. Okay, so let's have a look. As you can see, the output contains only the characters in my set. So then you may want to add some special characters like double quotes or spaces. And it will cause an error like this if you do that. So you're going to need to escape like this. Or you need to put your set in between double quotes. So also, I'm going to add a space like this. And output is very long, so I'm going to stop it here. So you can see that Crunch is a very powerful command line word list generator. So it helps us to play with characters. So by typing this line, T, the parameter will produce a special output. And the first 2 characters will be lowercase, the next 2 characters will be uppercase, next 2 will be numbers, and then the last 2 will be special symbols. Now, the order in which you specify the characters you want is important. So it means that you need to specify your char set's order as lowercase character, uppercase character, number, and then symbol. Now, if you aren't going to use a particular char set, you must use a plus sign as a placeholder. So let me just add a plus sign instead of CD and change it here to lowercase. So if I use a placeholder for uppercase letters, then it will use all uppercase letters in the English alphabet. Okay? So we can also limit the number of duplicate characters. That you just use a D parameter to add a limit. And this will limit duplicate lowercase letter to 1, which means the letter will not present after the same letter. Also, we can expand this to uppercase letters as well, numbers and symbols too. So Crunch can also print the list after a specific word. So using the S parameter with the word ABDC12, it will trim words before ABDC12. And using the E parameter, we can trim the output from the end like that. Then the output from Crunch can be sent to the screen file or to another program. Now, typing the O parameter, we can then save the output to a file called word list. And I'll show you the generated output. Okay, so besides having a good password policy, the application can still have authentication issues. One of them is default and weak credentials. And it's very common to see these values in pre-configured application platforms, hardware's web interfaces, and in internet environment. Just for the sake of usability, they all come with default usernames or sometimes default passwords or both. And generally, companies have a standard structure of email addresses or any other text used to define a user ID. So what this does is it helps us to predict username values and even passwords. So what I'm saying is don't even hesitate to use the default values while testing.